Dear friends, we will continue our lectures of evolutionary biology. Last time we have seen that how the neck of giraffe was developed. It was elongated as per the need of the food. Now we will see the development of feet of the birds. Webbed foot. So webbed foots are present in mostly birds. Example duck. How the web is developed and why? These scales are the indicators of reptiles because birds are evolved from reptiles and the nails are also here to the birds. So the web-footed aquatic birds evolved from non-web-footed birds. The aquatic birds float on the water by propelling the water with their toes. These are the toes. In this process, the toes were spreading out generation after generation, and as toes were spreading out, the skin between the toes also widened, and this widened skin between toes after many generations developed into a web, and in this way the web is developed for swimming in water. Then these muscles were also developed, bicep muscles were also developed in the birds as they stroke fastly, and these walking birds were having strong muscles for walking on the land, but as they adapt to swim fastly in the aquatic environment, the wave is developed in between the toes. Then bicep muscles. In blacksmith, the bicep muscles in the upper arm are well developed. This is because the blacksmith has to give more effort to his hand than to any other parts of the body. Our biceps are developed as the maximum strength or maximum load is lifted by these muscles. Then wading birds. The wading birds, water birds, always try to keep their body above the water level, and the continuous stretching of the leg in order to keep their body above the water resulted into long legs, and therefore the aquatic birds have a long legs, or for example we can say heron, or we can say likewise birds, many birds, aquatic birds. Examples of disuse theory: if the organs are not used continuously for generation to generation, then they either diminish or become vestigial or become vanish. So these are the changes. Eyes of cave animals. The cave is characterized by complete darkness, and in the absence of light, the cave animals cannot use their eyes. And since the eyes are not used for many generations, the eyes become degenerated, and in extreme cases, eyes disappear completely. Example: Proteus anguinus. This is one of the amphibian who have lost his vision or eyes because of no use in the caves. Then flightlessness. Another very good example is the flightless condition in kiwi or kiwi of New Zealand. Kiwi is the bird of New Zealand, and evidences indicate that kiwi has descended from normal flying birds. When they first came to New Zealand, they were good flyers. At that time, there were no enemies on the land in New Zealand. Hence, they led a peaceful life without any attempt to fly, and they had no change to use their wings. So, this happened generation after generation, resulting in the degeneration of the wings and loss of flight in kiwi birds. Then vestigial organs. The vestigial organ of man of other animals are the result of continuous disuse. Example: coccyx, ear muscles, and plicae milionaris in man, or limbs in snakes, etc. So these are the organs which are not in use, therefore they become vestigial. Inheritance of acquired characters. When the environment changes, animals respond to it. In the response, animals develop new adaptive characters, and the characters developed by animals during their lifetime in response to the environmental changes are called acquired characters. And according to Lamarck, these acquired characters are transmitted to the offsprings. हा एकच शब्द आहे ऑफस्प्रिंग्स. दिस इज कॉल्ड इनहेरिटन्स ऑफ एक्वायर्ड कॅरेक्टर्स. एक्झाम्पल, द लॉंग नेक ऑफ जिराफ इज अन एक्वायर्ड कॅरेक्टर and it is transmitted to the offspring generation after generation. The degenerated wing of kiwi is an acquired character. It is inherited by its progeny generation after generation. Criticism of Lamarckism. C.D. Darlington states that Lamarck's theory is an evergreen superstition. There were many criticisms for the against Lamarckism, for and against Lamarckism. They are as follows. पहिलं, increase in size. The first principle of Lamarck states that organisms have the tendency to increase in size. So this is true of many animals, but it is not universally applicable because there are instances to show reduction in size of organs. Second, internal urge, मनातली अंतर्गत इच्छा, अंतर्मनातली इच्छा. The second principle states that when there were new needs, new structures develop upon the desire of the animal. Every human being has the desire to fly in the air. If Lamarck's principle is correct, every human being who desires to fly should develop wings, but it does not occur. Use and disuse theory. The use and disuse theory has met with strong objections. A person who reads books frequently uses his eyes more. If Lamarck's use theory is correct, the size and power of eye in such a person should increase with increasing age, but this does not happen. The heart is put to use continuously. Still, it remains in the same size generation after generation. Inheritance of acquired characters. The principle of inheritance of acquired characters is also much contradicted. So conceptions and misconceptions are always there. So scars. The scars acquired by the soldiers in the battlefield are not inherited by their sons. Bored ears. The ancient Indian women bored their ears to wear ornaments. If Lamarck's principle is true, then almost all Indian girls of the present day should have inherited bored ears from their parents. Circumcision. Circumcision म्हणजे cutting off the prepuce of penis. The circumcision is practiced by Jews and Muslims even from the very ancient times. Still, Muslims are born with normal prepuce and everybody has to repeat circumcision. सुनता करतात म्हणतात तर ते सुद्धा नैसर्गिक असलं पाहिजे होतं, किंवा कान टोचतात बाया ते सुद्धा पिढ्यानपिढ्या मग चाललं पाहिजे होतं. परंतु त्याच्यासाठी आपल्याला तसं करायची गरज पडत नाही. नैसर्गिकरित्या जसं पूर्वी होतं तसंच जन्माला येतं, असं काहींचं म्हणणं आहे. तर ओल्ड कन्सेप्ट आणि न्यू कन्सेप्टमध्ये कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन हे असणारच आहे. फीट ऑफ चायनीज वुमन. द चायनीज पीपल लाईक टू कीप द फीट ऑफ देअर वुमन स्मॉलर. Hence, all Chinese girls are allowed to wear iron shoes. Still, young ones have their feet in normal size. Tail of mice. August Weismann cut the tails of mice continuously for about 20 generations. He did not allow the mice to use their tails for 20 generations. If Lamarck's principle of inheritance of acquired character was correct, then the 21st generation, all the mice should have been tailless. But the mice were born with tails with normal length. Germplasm theory. The germplasm theory of August Weismann gives another blow to Lamarckism. And the germplasm theory states that each organism is formed of two types of cells, namely somatic cells and germ cells. The somatic cells constitute all the body cells except the germ cells of gonads, and they perish with the death of animals. Any character acquired by somatic cells cannot be transmitted to the offsprings. That is why the scar of soldier is not inherited by his son. This one is the germplasm theory. One more thing is that the germ cells or gametes of parents alone are transmitted from parents to offsprings. So many changes that occur in the germ cells alone is transmitted to the offspring. And Lamarck could not differentiate between the germplasm and the somatoplasm. He said that all the acquired characters are inheritable. But according to germplasm theory, the characters of or changes that occur in the germ cells alone are inherited. So August Weismann says that acquired characters are not inherited because environmental factors cannot influence the next generation, and this is because the environmental factors do not affect the genes in the sex cells, and therefore this is not the true as per the old concepts and new concepts, because the old scientists were reported the changes takes place according to the environment, but environment does not change every year. It can have, or whatever it changes, it does not changes in that extent what it was changed in previous era or previous period. So this might be the reason that the germplasm theory supports to the environmental changes, or we can say evolutionary changes. Darwinism, second topic. First we have seen Lamarckism, some contradiction was also there. Now Darwinism. So Charles Darwin was an eminent evolutionist. He proposed an evolution theory called Darwinism or natural selection theory. So Darwinism theory is also known as natural selection theory. He was born in England in 1809. His father admitted him in a medical school at Edinburgh. But Darwin was not at all interested in medical study, so he discontinued his course. He was then admitted to Cambridge to become a clergyman. So Darwin took his degree for clergyman in 1831. When he was studying, he got the friendship of many scientists. The most prominent of them was Dr. Henslow. From them, he learned many things about biology and natural history. He was much attracted by nature. At that time, the British Admiralty planned a voyage of exploration for 5 years on a ship named HMS Beagle. Dr. Henslow was asked to nominate a young naturalist for the voyage. He gave the opportunity to young Darwin. The voyage took him to many islands, including Galapagos Islands. During the voyage, Darwin took elaborate notes on the nature of the land, plants, and animals of the regions visited. The voyage started in 1831 and ended in 1836. So he was डार्विन 5 वर्ष जहाजावर एका मोहिमेवर होता. व्होएज समुद्री मोहीम होती. काही शास्त्रज्ञ त्या मोहिमेत सहभागी झाले. आता हिस्ट्री सांगायची झाली तर डार्विनला मेडिकल कॉलेजमध्ये ॲडमिट केलं होतं, पण त्याला मेडिकलमध्ये इंटरेस्ट नव्हता. म्हणून त्याने मग एक शास्त्रज्ञांची संस्था जॉईन केली आणि त्या शास्त्रज्ञांच्या संस्थेमध्ये कामाला लागला. आणि तिथं शास्त्रज्ञांच्या जे अभ्यास करायचे त्याच्यामध्ये त्याला बायोलॉजी आणि नॅचरल हिस्ट्रीचा अभ्यास खूप आवडायचा. जीवशास्त्र आणि सजीवांच्या अभ्यासाविषयी त्याला खूप आवड होती. आणि मग तो कामाला लागला आणि तिथं त्यांनी मग HMS नावाची HMS बिगल नावाची एक मोठी शिप होती. ती शिप 5 वर्षासाठी समुद्रात निघाली किंवा 5 वर्ष समुद्रात जायचे आणि तिकडं परत 5 वर्षांनी परत यायचे. जे काही बेटं मिळते समुद्रातले त्या बेटांवरच्या सजीवांच्या, पर्यावरणाचा, निसर्गाचा अभ्यास करायचा किंवा काही नवीन सापडतं का त्याचे शोध घ्यायचा, किंवा त्या काळात कदाचित काही संपत्तीचे शोध घेण्यात निघाले असतील ते आपल्याला माहीत नाही. परंतु ते पर्यावरणाचा अभ्यास करणारे होते, सजीवांचा अभ्यास करणारे होते. त्यांच्यासोबत डार्विनने यायची इच्छा व्यक्त केली आणि त्याला ती संधी मिळाली पण. तर त्याने त्या काळामध्ये ज्या ज्या बेटांना भेटी दिल्या तिथल्या सगळ्या गोष्टी तो नोंद करत गेला. कोणाच्या? त्या जमिनीविषयी, त्या वनस्पतींविषयी, त्या प्राण्यांविषयी, तिथल्या पर्यावरणाविषयी सगळी नोंद त्याने केली. 1831 ते 1836 5 वर्ष ते समुद्रात होते बघा जहाजावर. तर त्यांनी अनेक बेटांना भेटी दिल्या आणि त्यांनी केलेल्या नोट्स हा आजपर्यंत जगातला जागतिक अभ्यास म्हणून डार्विन्स थेअरी किंवा डार्विनचे सिद्धांत म्हणून आपण अभ्यास करतो आहोत बघा. आफ्टर द व्होएज म्हणजे त्या मोहिमेनंतर डार्विन वर्कड इंटेन्सिव्हली ऑन हिज ऑब्झर्वेशन ऑफ नेचर. त्या मोहिमेनंतर त्यांनी गोळा केलेला सगळं अभ्यासाने एककडून वाचायला सुरुवात केली आणि ते नोंद करायला सुरुवात केली. ही पब्लिशड हिज ऑब्झर्वेशन्स, व्ह्यूज अँड इन्फरन्सेस इन जर्नल्स अँड बुक्स. आणि त्यांचे ते अभ्यास त्यांनी मासिकांमध्ये आणि पुस्तकांमध्ये पब्लिश केला. ही पब्लिशड मोर दॅन 15 जर्नल्स अँड बुक्स ऑन व्हेरियस ब्रांचेस लाईक जिओलॉजी, botany, geology and so on. Of all these publications, the most important on and that which brings fame to Darwin is the origin of species published in 1859. त्याने त्या मोहिमेतून आल्यानंतर काही लेख लिहिले. ते लेख त्याने जिओलॉजी म्हणजे भूगर्भशास्त्र म्हणजे इथं आपण म्हटलं ना माती जमिनीबद्दल त्याने माहिती घेतली. नंतर प्लॅन्ट्स म्हणजे बॉटनीचा अभ्यास केला. नंतर ॲनिमल्स म्हणजे जिओलॉजीचा अभ्यास केला. आणि असा त्याने सगळा सांगोपांग अभ्यास करून 15 जर्नल्समध्ये किंवा पुस्तकांमध्ये त्याची सगळी माहिती पाठवली, प्रकाशित केली. आणि त्या पुस्तकांपैकी एक पुस्तक जे आज जागतिक डार्विनचा सिद्धांत म्हणून पब्लिश आहे, तो आजही मान्य करतात लोक. 1836 पासून तो आजपर्यंत. तेव्हा डार्विन हा अगदी लहान होता बघा, स्कूल स्टुडंट होता, 7वी-8वीतला विद्यार्थी बघा. आणि त्याने हे सगळं नोंद केली आणि जगासमोर मांडलं. तर त्याने गॅलापागोस आयलँड्स आहेत, गॅलापागोस समुद्रातली बेटं जी आहेत त्या बेटांवरचा अभ्यास त्याने मांडला. आणि त्याच्यापैकी त्याने ओरिजिन ऑफ स्पेसीज म्हणजे प्रजातींचा उगम कसा झाला, सजीवांच्या प्रजाती जसं जाती आणि प्रजाती असतात किंवा जाती आणि उपजाती असतात, तर त्याने ओरिजिन ऑफ स्पेसीज नावाचे पुस्तक 1859 पब्लिश केलं. आणि त्या पुस्तकाला जागतिक प्रसिद्धी मिळाली. आजपर्यंत त्याचे सिद्धांत आपण मान्य करत आहोत की असं आहे आणि हो. तर हा एक त्याचा जागतिक अभ्यास आहे. आपण इथं डार्विनच्या अभ्यासाबरोबर आपला आजचं स्पीच पण थांबवूया. पुढचं स्पीच आपण नेक्स्ट लेक्चरला घेऊया.